Shout out to my wonderful peeps. Sports to the bone here again, man. Remember, as always, to like, share, comment. If you have not yet subscribed, remember to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, we're going to talk about some cricket. Stay tuned. On this day. Yeah, man. So, with just a couple of days to go before the starting of this year's CPL competition, I was just here seated and saying to myself that, boy, it's been a while since I have been supporting this West Indies cricket team, Long time I watch cricket. And, saying to myself that at least I will get a chance to see some of the current stars in the midst of this pandemic. We're talking about people like our Darren Bravo, our Dwayne Bravo, the Hetmeyers of this world. We're talking about Andre Russell, the Pollards of this world, saying that, boy, at least I'm going to get a chance to see some of the guys that are in top form. So, in the middle of reminiscing about West Indies cricket, I am here saying to myself, boy, West Indies cricket have certainly come a far way. We're talking about in the 70s, when we had superstars like Greenwich and Haynes, we had people like Vivian Richards, Michael Holding, Clive Lloyd. We have Joel Gunn, Andy Roberts. Those guys were dominant in the 70s leading up to the 80s. Then going over in the 90s, we had people coming in like Courtney Walsh, Curtly Ambrose, Lara, Shivnarine, Shandopal, all those guys. And in the middle of it, I'm saying to myself, I wonder if I could sit down and try and remember what West Indies starting lineup looked like in the early 2000s when I really started watching cricket with an understanding. Mind you, I would have seen some amount of cricket in the late 90s, being around my father and thing, but I wouldn't have understand much back then. But in the 2000s, while I was in primary school, I started getting a better understanding of cricket. That's where the love for cricket really germinated in my heart and all of that. So I am here now saying to myself, I wonder if I could remember what a West Indies cricket team looked like back in the early 2000s leading into the mid 2000. And I say, I'm going to give it a chance and see if I can remember some of the guys that were regular players in the West Indies team back then when I started watching cricket. Because I have been watching for a while now. And I'm not talking about video clips that I would have seen on YouTube or things that I would have heard people saying. Talking about things that I would have seen for myself and would have understand back then. So, looking back at what West Indies starting lineup would have looked like when I just started watching cricket, we had people, we had our own Jamaican Chris Gayle at the top of the order, and majority of the time when I actually got a chance to see the game, Chris Gayle was opening with Wavell Hines, and this is in the early 2000s. So we had Chris Gayle and Wavell Hines opening the innings at 1 and 2. Then we had the Guyanese Sarwan coming in at number 3, very stylish and elegant player. I mean, the Sarwan of 2020 seems to be more of a politician than he's a cricket lover, But yeah, man, Sarwan was the player that was regularly featured at number 3 when I really started understanding cricket. At number 4 was the Prince himself, Brian Charles Lara. Yeah, man, so I really enjoyed watching Brian Charles Lara, but growing up as a little youngster. And I mean, every youngster that really loved cricket back then can attest to this. When we were out there playing our little cricket in the backyard, we would always try to bat like Lara, try to get that high back lift that Lara has, that Lara used to do when he was playing, so we would all try to get that high back lift and jump and try and, play the square cut or the cover drive like Lara would. Yeah, man, so Brian Charles Lara is the man that usually stable the innings at number 4. And somebody that I actually admire, somebody that I have tried to bat like for years while playing cricket, usually comes in at number 5, which is Shivnarayan Shandopal. Yeah, man. So when I started watching cricket in the early 2000s, Shandopal, is one of those players that are always that would always be in the side, and most youngsters that are in their early to mid 20s now to late 20s can attest to this. Watching Shandopal when growing up, you would always try to copy him with that front hand stand that he usually does as his technique when batting. Yeah, man. So Shandopal was at number 5. So taking it from top again, we have Chris Gale, Wavelines opening, Sarwan at number 3, Lara at number 4, Shandopal at number 5. And this is usually the setup for like the test cricket or 50 over, but not necessarily in order, but these are the guys that I really, remember playing a big part back in the early to mid 2000 when I just started watching cricket. Coming in at number 6 now, we had Carl Hooper. Yeah, man. Carl Hooper was also a half-break bowler. Usually occupies the number 6 spot. Sometimes if Carl Hooper isn't there, we would have somebody like a Jimmy Adams. Yeah, man. A lot of people used to call him Jimmy Padams, but yeah. Jimmy Adams usually sometimes, if Carl Hooper is injured or is not in the squad, then would have, or maybe they would rotate the players, rotate between Adams and Carl Hooper. Yeah, man. So Adams used to bowl a little bit of left arm, medium pace, so if I am remembering correctly. And usually if it was a 50 over, not a test, would probably have somebody like a Ricardo Powell, that hard-hitting all-rounder from Trinidad, usually comes in sometimes. So, we had Ricardo Powell there. Yeah, man. So, number 7, I clearly remember this guy, our wicket keeper, Rivel Jacobs. I remember when Lara set the record at 400. He was batting with Rivel Jacobs when he actually achieved the 400 runs not out. So I think Jacobs even got 100 and something in that match too, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, man. So Rivel Jacobs was the go-to wicket keeper back then. We're gonna have 4 fast bowlers. Yeah, man. So we're talking about people like Courtney Walsh. At this stage, Courtney Walsh was coming to the end of his career when I really started watching cricket on a level that I really understood. So we had Courtney Walsh also. Partnering with Courtney Walsh was another fast bowler, Curtly Ambrose. Yeah, man. Ambrose, was a very wonderful bowler, somebody that would keep the ball in one spot for hours, man. So currently Ambrose, I saw a little bit of Ambrose in the last part of his career there. So we had Courtney Ambrose and Courtney Walsh. Those were the opening bowlers when I started watching. And also we had I have 2 players that are going to round out the 11 with. I had Mervyn Dillon, a man that that pace bowler from, I think he is from Trinidad, Mervyn Dillon. And also to rounding off the number 11 spot, we had Corey Collymore. Yeah, man. So those are the guys that were regularly featured when I started watching cricket. As it relates to the fast bowling spot though, after Curtly Ambrose and Courtney Walsh would have transitioned out, we had a couple of pace bowlers that came in that those bowlers were doing really good. We had somebody like a Jermaine Lawson that bowled really well for us before he was banned. We had Jerome Taylor, I think, was coming through at that point in time when I just started watching. Pedro Collins is the next man that was there. We also had a left arm fast bowler there. I think his name was Ian Bradshaw. Yeah, man. So I would have already listed the 11. Let me go back to the 11. These are just some bowlers that were rotated at the time. So we had At the top, we had Chris Gale, Wavell Hines, Sarwan, Lara, Shonda Paul, Carl Hooper, Jacobs, Courtney Walsh, Curtly Ambrose, Mervyn Dillon, Corey Collymore. So those are the 11 that I am sticking with, that I really saw, that were regularly featured in the West Indies team when I started watching. Yeah, man. But so the other bowlers that I just alluded to are players that were just coming through. Talking about your Jerome Taylor, your Fidel Edwards. We had Ian Bradshaw there also, Pedro Collins. Yeah, man. These are some players that I would have seen a lot of them. Also, the spin bowler that was there back then was a guy by the name of Nagamoto. Yeah, man. So Sarwan used to do a bit of part-time bowling also, some spin bowling. We also had Shonda Paul that usually bowl a little bit of leg break from time to time during test match. But back then, Nagamoto was basically the primary spin bowler when I started watching. Yeah, man. So that is basically my list of guys that I really saw that was featured regularly in the West Indies setup when I started watching cricket. So you can just go ahead in the comment section, give us your starting 11, what the starting 11 looked like back then when you just started watching the game. Yeah, man, so we can compare and see what's happening. Sports to the bone, keeping you informed. Remember to like, share, leave a comment, subscribe if you have not yet subscribed.